might be able to gatekeep me out of NBA and basketball conversations because of my weight, my height, my appearance, how much basketball I've played at a pro level in my life. But something you cannot gatekeep me from is NBA YouTube. You cannot gatekeep me from this because I've been doing this since 2016, 2017, man. Been doing this since 2016, 2017 at a relatively high level too, so not too much on me. For those who don't know my background, and you are recently just finding out about me, this channel right here was not SOLZ and Sage the whole time. The OGs know this. The OGs know this, but yeah, I've been doing NBA YouTube since 2017, 2016, right? I do this full time now, and I feel like I've done pretty well for myself. Got this channel right here. I have the streams. I have my own personal plug channel. I have Let's Keep It a Buck. And I wanna shout out the NBA community and NBA YouTube and just basketball in general, but more specifically the NBA for, I'm not gonna lie, changing my life. No, it doesn't really get more simpler than that. I would not be here without the NBA. I would not be here without y'all. I would not be here without the NBA community and YouTube specifically. I would not be here. But regardless, I didn't want to make this about me. I wanted to make this about NBA YouTube and just NBA social media landscape in 2024. I feel like this is something I want to do every single year. Nothing really prompted me to make this video, so don't worry. I'm not trying to take shots at anyone or anything like that, but sports media in general is something that changes so much every single year, especially over the last couple of years. And 2024 and 2023, boy, it changed a lot. Boy, it changed a lot. You know, it wasn't when I first started, there were only a handful of us that were making NBA videos. I want to shout out the OGs real quick. I want to shout out Low, Legend of Winning, Marcel, now that his name is public. Shout out to Nick Smith. Shout out to the guys still doing it. But shout out to the guys who aren't. MDJ, Zach Lee, SDC. Shout out to Mike Korzemba. Shout out to Jimmy High Roller. These are some names that have been industry standards, industry staples for a while now and are still going strong. Flight Mike, Get Like Coop, MJ2K all day, Rusty Buckets, Swish Out, all these great creators that have given y'all fire content. I want to shout y'all out real quick because for me specifically, because I know what y'all do and what y'all go through, you know what I'm saying, the work does not go unnoticed, and I don't think that gets mentioned. I don't think that gets mentioned enough, to be honest with you. But yeah, the landscape has changed so much, bro. So many new creators nowadays. And what it means to be an NBA YouTuber now is different. Is different. There used to be a meta. There used to be a template as to what an NBA YouTuber should be. It was the voiceover video essay type videos with really crisp editing. You show footage on the screen, statistics on the screen, and you make your case for whatever take you're trying to make. You know what I'm saying? But in 2024, that's not the case. What it means to be an NBA YouTuber is so broad now, and I love that. Because I personally didn't like where the video essay days were heading in, where to consume and talk about NBA basketball was becoming a linear path. I didn't like that. Now I understand everyone has different takes and things of that nature, but consuming basketball and the different perspectives people have, there's so many different ways to output that, right? And because of the algorithm, what you need to do to make a viral video, you know, live streaming not as popular back then, it seemed very one-dimensional as to what it would take for you to make a platform off of talking about NBA basketball from an independent perspective. But nowadays, with TikTok, with Instagram, with you know, YouTube Shorts being a thing, with live streaming much more prevalent, so many different voices can be heard, so many different perspectives can be heard, and even within those lanes, there's so many different ways to talk about basketball. You know what I'm saying? You have the uber analytical crowd. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the hoop venues of the world. Shout out to the thinking basketballs of the world. Like, y'all definitely deserve a place and a space on this platform. I would argue even more than anything, you know what I'm saying? Let's try to be objective as much as we can when it comes to these discussions. Let's try to have those nuanced conversations, and y'all are definitely some of the best at that. Some people cover the NBA from a news perspective, while some people wait a little bit to, group all this information together and make fantastic expose, video essays, recaps that are 30, 40 minutes long. Shout out to the Dylan Does Basketballs of the world. Shout out to Low when he gets into that bag. Shout out to Jimmy High Roller when he gets into that bag. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Rusty Buckets when he's been doing that a lot lately, and the videos have been fantastic. Shout out to Rusty. And I would also like to shout out the casuals. You know what I'm saying? All of us are needed in this ecosystem. Because while I appreciate the deep dives, while I appreciate the analytical conversations, and I was on that side of things when I first started my career, I personally, because of the toxicity that I experience and that I continue to see within the NBA community when it comes to talking about basketball, at the end of the day, a thing that we all watch, at the end of the day, a thing that we are all fans of, that we just want to enjoy at the end of the day, I do think there's a counterbalance needed to that. That is the casual side of NBA YouTube. The side of NBA YouTube that keeps it fun. They may not have the smartest takes. They may not have the most nuanced take, but they make consuming NBA basketball. They make talking about the NBA fun still. They keep that fun element. So I want to pop my shit off, and I want to shout out the Let's Keep It a Buck podcast. I want to shout out Souls and Stage, and I want to shout out me for taking that pivot, because that has truly been one of my things that I really wanted to make as something unique to me within this NBA space, is really embracing that casualness to the game. Because in my opinion, again, there's a place and space for everything, so I don't want to take away anything from those people. But I also think there's not enough casual spaces that still provide like a decent level of basketball knowledge, but still embrace that casualty to it. You know what I'm saying? So, when we watch highlights, when we, I'm on Souls and Stage right now, react to takes, when we do these 2K rebuilds, when we do these rankings, there's always a level of just keeping it fun. There's always a level of keeping it casual that I feel like a lot of people enjoy, even with Let's Keep It a Buck in my streams. There's a level of, let's have fun consuming this content. Because at the end of the day, some of y'all take this shit way too seriously. I'm sorry, some of y'all do. Some of y'all do. Especially the ones that have stan accounts and will, you know what I'm saying, put out death threats to NBA players and their families when shit gets shaky in the playoffs. Like, that shit is weird to me. So, I love being that counterbalance. Fat joke inserted. Just insert it right there, man. It's right there. It's a layup. It's a fucking layup. Of course, you're the counterbalance. All right, dog. Now you're on penis. And that's what I'm talking about. Now you're on penis. I also want to shout out the Athlete Podcast, bro. I want to shout out the Athlete Podcast, because even though they want to separate themselves from independent content creators, motherfuckers who haven't played the game type of creators, and they also want to separate themselves from the mainstream ESPN, FS1 type of media. I'm sorry, with the way social media has affected the landscape, with the way mainstream media has taken over, in a sense, what content creation has been. We're all just one now, buddy. We're all in one NBA media. To act like, a Jimmy High Roller or myself or a Kenny Beecham does not have any influence in this space is dumb at this point. So when we move around, I always just group us all together. Now, there's levels to it. There's definitely levels to these bezels. But to act like you're above and not within this space is kind of crazy to me, which I have seen some NBA podcasts, some NBA podcasts talk like that, but not too crazy. But regardless, I love seeing, because I didn't want that to be a hate take, I love seeing former NBA players get into the podcasting space, get into the content creation bag, because when push comes to shove, and y'all see my dog up here, hi Buzz. When push comes to shove, as much as we can talk about the game from a fan perspective, there is still a level of storytelling, there is still a level of nuance, and there is still a level of collaboration that us as people who aren't in the industry, us as people who haven't played basketball, just will never have. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how many hoops and how elevated you gotta be to have Stephen Curry on your podcast or regular NBA players on your podcast regularly? Actually, I do know, and it's Kenny Beecham. And shout out to Kenny Beecham for pushing these boundaries for us in the Through the Wire podcast. Right? But for NBA players, I mean, shit, they probably played with 7 NBA players in AAU, probably 5 more in college on their own team. Maybe that's crazy. Maybe another one on their team. They made friends with 4 other dudes from other colleges that they probably played in AAU as well in high school. Like just today, I seen D-Wade do a podcast with Carmelo Anthony, and I'm sorry, bro. I'm not pulling up Carmelo Anthony anytime soon. I'm not pulling up D-Wade anytime soon. And vice versa, even with Carmelo's podcast. The fact that he was able to pull off a Mikal Bridges even. Like, you know how crazy I would be to just be able to tell Mikal Bridges, yo, pull up to the podcast? And not even Mikal, just a Daniel Tice. And no disrespect to a Daniel Tice, but I believe, like, Daniel Tice or Vika Zubac were on Paul George's podcast. Like, it's crazy out here. I do find it funny, though, that now NBA players are kind of seeing what it's like to be on the other side of the token. You know, like a lot of NBA players have always shitted on the media for saying takes for clicks, always talking about narratives and statistics. But when you actually listen to their own podcasts, a lot of, like, hey, listen, you got to get them views up if you want the bag, number one. And number two, a lot of their same talking points are narratives and statistics as well. Like, I'm sorry, bro. If you listen to All the Smoke, hell, if you listen to Kendrick Perkins talk on ESPN, they talk about narratives. They do. It's just it is what it is. Perception does mean a lot, even to NBA players within that NBA circle. But regardless, I love seeing them come into the space. Now, is that a threat to a person like myself? That, keep it a buck, more qualified people are coming into the space, more famous people who have way more leverage are coming into the space. Me personally, no. I do think it has affected the top end of things. I have come to the belief that if you really want to be because Complex released a list, I believe in December or January, of the top 25 most influential sports figures in sports media. A lot of them are either one or like a Skip Bayless, Stephen A. type people, or two, they're athletes with podcasts and their own platforms. You know what I'm saying? So, I do think just when it comes to that top end of things, just as consumers, you would like to hear Kobe Bryant talk about the game or LeBron James talk about the game way more than just some dude trying to make a sports podcast, because Kobe Bryant can not only give you analysis, can not only give you fire guests, but again, can tell those stories and those nuances that me, as a person who's never played in the NBA, can just talk about. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just natural. You know what I'm saying? But I do still think there's a lot of space for content creators to make a living within that middle ground. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I think the beauty with sports media and NBA YouTube right now is just the variety of options that you have with the content that you consume. If you like live streams, if you like podcasts, shout out to the Deep Three, shout out to Player's Choice. Once again, shout out to Through the Wire. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Pick a Side podcast. Like, if you want a basketball podcast, basketball live streams from different perspectives, they are out there. If you want the fun side of things, they are out there. If you want a middle ground, they are out there. If you want the analytical side, they are out there. If you want long video essays, they are out there. If you want more personality-driven content, they are out there. Long form, short form. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Chilltown, who has blown up and is transitioned into Player's Choice. But Chilltown made a platform off of TikTok. I seen Jalen Rose's daughter, Mariah Rose. She has made a platform through TikTok. Molly Morrison made a platform through Twitter and TikTok. Dom2K. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Dom2K is a short form creator, but Dom2K is definitely a dude who leveraged his Twitter following to Twitch, to back to YouTube, to be honest with you. So yeah, ultimately I just love where the space is at right now. Me personally, for those who do know what my plans are for this year, what my aspirations are, I am still trying to pivot a little bit back from basketball because I just feel like the potential is capped for me based off of a bunch of different factors that I don't want to get into in this video, but the potential is capped off for me when it comes to NBA basketball content. So if I can tap into a new audience through my live streams, that's way more personality based, that would be fantastic. But yeah, I love the NBA community, for real. And I would even argue that the longevity of an NBA YouTuber is much longer than a lot of these different niches, bro. Like, Red Pill came and went. Red Pill content came and went. NBA YouTube is still here. Vlogging on YouTube came and went. NBA YouTube has been there the whole time. And I think it's because at the end of the day, as boxed in as it is, the NBA ain't going anywhere. So if you make your content about the NBA, there's a multi-billion-dollar industry backing that up to keep a bunch of people afloat. You know what I'm saying? So latching on to that car, trying to hitch a ride on that car is much more stable than other cars you can hitch a ride on. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, I don't know, bro. I understand a lot of y'all didn't really ask for a State of the Union from BSOLZ, but y'all are getting it. All right? Y'all are still getting it. With that being said, appreciate y'all for coming through, and I'm out, man. Peace.